Well, thank you for staying with us. And as that little song there goes, Ni Jukumu la Farm Kenya, and the rest, of course, you know. Before we went to the break, we had been in discussions around the context around biotech and the framework under which it has been accepted or rejected in this country. And now to bring Prof back in from that angle before we go to the traceability aspect that we intend to discuss at this point. And the fact of the matter is that this has already been in place in some countries for generations now, and people have been reaping the benefits of these methods of ensuring food security.
Yeah, the use of biotechnology basically is a tool to reduce the cost of production. Remember, a farmer is a business person like everybody else. In context, if you look products like in North America, I would say that weed control is the highest cost of agricultural production. So farmers will utilize technologies that can be able to save them those number of applications, those number of flying through the field. And that is the whole aspect of using herbicides like glyphosate as a tool. Is a tool, is a weeding tool, like they use a tractor. The point here is that when it comes to discussions about glyphosate or talking about biotech, talking about genetically modified crops, is basically bringing in technologies that can save the farmer money. Farmer can make more money out of his or her production.
While remaining safe.
While remaining relevant, but also with the safety aspect being considered. Because nothing is released for use in the farm without going through a rigorous testing and investigation. Personally, I worked with that particular environment. I worked with glyphosate right from when I was in graduate school. I mean, up to the time I finished my PhD. And I worked on GM corn and soybean. I was operating research from Pennsylvania to Minnesota. And I was looking at how does the new biotech-based crops behave in relationship to the other crops. I used to take care of about 7 million hectares of maize and 7 million of soybean. All of them were basically looking at use of glyphosate and glyphosate-based technologies on how it can be used. These farmers are making money. These farmers are producing enough to export. So personally, I am a proponent of GM crops, which means, again, for me, GM is nothing other than transferring the trait or managing the weed through the seed, and therefore to transform the seed to be the one carrying that tool called the glyphosate, the one we use now, right? Glyphosate.
Which then comes in as inbuilt, not application.
Not application, yes. So you reduce what you call the footprint of pesticide in the market by single application through the seed, which means that I will reduce the number of applications of the particular herbicide itself.
And that was actually rolled out.
And no doubt, crop improvement, that's what we call crop improvement today. And we're using that biotech to deliver that trait that can help the farmer save money.
Is this working in other places across the world? Has it had results? Have there been negative outcomes?
No, I have not seen any yet. I'm a scholar. I spend a lot of time. That's my area, by the way. That's my area. I've been in that area, that space for over 30 years now. And I've been working on the same. I follow the threads. We call them threads. And I've not seen any report other than what came up in 2012, which was basically not good science. And for us, again, as the Kenya National Academy of Sciences, we don't get emotions, we look at science. And through the science, we can make decisions whether it is to go left or to go right. And that's why when I'm sitting with you, Peter, right now, I am telling the Kenyan people, I have tasted food before it is cooked. That is so-called maize. Before it is cooked, which is the GM maize. You are worried about the one you've eaten your ugali or you cooked your beans and maize, but I'm talking about that tasting that fresh.
Before
to know the difference between the conventional one and the modern one. But the whole process here is that particular crop is being also enhanced in productivity. Because other things is that in the process of bringing in the new trait, you're also improving on the yields, because that's the bottom line. That's what the farm is looking for.
Those who said that that is just one way of stealing our food sovereignty, and that we will have to keep going back to the owners of that technology to regrow and to essentially replenish because of things like the killer gene and licensing and things like that.
I want also, but it's good you have mentioned that. I think there's again misinformation there, because what happens when we use what we call the terminator gene is a technology that we actually put out in 1996, 97.
Yes.
It was completely removed out of the process because the farmers is not on every farmers they like keeping their seed. What is very important for us as Kenyans, how can we improve our germplasm using the same technology so that we get benefit? You cannot complain of somebody's trying to take away your seed when you're not improving your own. Therefore, it is the challenges for us. Put more money, as OJ did mention, put money to the researchers, let the researchers also improve our own germplasm or our own varieties to be competitive. Today, our varieties are not competing very well. Why? Let's look at the traits.
We have just about 7 minutes left, gentlemen, for the show. Time flies when you're having fun. I want us to talk about traceability, OJ. And I want you to talk about what it means first, so that people can understand how the system works and what it would mean for food security and food safety, and how we can then implement that across our food value chain.
Thanks. I think for me, traceability is just a very simple word. To be able to be accountable. One, where you bought it from and who you sold to. It's, do I know where I bought it from and do I know who my
And this is from the farm.
And that's from the farm. So it do not go to complication.
From farm to fork.
A farmer should be able to know they sold to who. And that person the same.
And
the
where
same
he
thing.
got his seeds.
And where he got his seeds. It just goes simple, one step back, one step forward, so that we are able to handle it within the value chain. Because you may not be able to follow all. And that just assures us, one, that in case of anything, we will know where the challenge was. And also in terms of strength, we'll know where the strength is. And this is not just for purposes of the safety, but also in terms of volumes, including food waste and food losses that occur along the way. It's spillages, and we get to know at what point are we wasting what and how do we recover, so that now the issue of food waste and food loss is addressed. And on this other side, in terms of production, I get to know I harvested 100 kilos. By the time it go to the market, was it 100 kilos? If I lost it, where did I lose it from? Did the quality was the quality compromised? Where? Was it because of the heat? Is it a cold chain? Is it a spillage? Is it this? So that we are able to get it. The beauty is that it's able to help us to be able to be what I call accountable. And for those of us who are in the export market, the market demands a story, a process. By the way, today, most people do not buy a product. They buy a process. You want to understand the process. And for you to understand the process, it means you must document. And that documentation should not be made complex. Document it in your way. A farmer should document it in their way.
So this is people collecting data at their own level.
Their own level. Do not complicate life. And then where there's IT, where now you need to get into sophistication, that depends on your level. But for the farmer, it's just to get to know, I bought this, I harvested from block A, and block A is identified.
So if we give an example for the consumers, for example, a packet of milk. So a consumer knows I bought this
from this supermarket
of this brand
from this
kiosk. The kiosk knows it was brought by that fellow in a truck. He works for that brand, and that person knows it was put in this truck at this time, in these temperatures, that sort of thing.
That's why when there's a challenge with certain products, you will hear, for example, in Kenya, you'll hear KEBS has recalled a specific consignment. The only way you can recall a consignment is because you have a traceability system that allows you to be accountable. But for the Kenyan the Kenyan consumer, they must go to the shop and ask, where did you buy this from? And for the grocery or the vendor, they should always ask the farmer, how did you produce it? That record will help us to ensure that a few characters who are not disciplined in managing properly our processes will start being accountable for. But the importance of this, it gives us an assurance that we are actually in control of our systems. And this is what gives us confidence out there when we export our product. I can tell you at a scan of a barcode in a supermarket in US or in America or in whatever destination we sell to, they are able to tell this product, this is the journey it has traveled. That's all we want. Then we know how to address them. This includes, but not limited, to plant protection products, the nutrition system, the handling, who packed it, how did it, what is the journey of this product? That way, then we have confidence. And as he says again, that is when we get to see if we planted this lot number of seeds, it gave us this result. This lot number gave us. Then meaning even the productivity can be confirmed and we are clear. So traceability is what all of us require. And this is to the Kenyan consumer. It has nothing to do with the producer. For me, it's about the consumer. The producer just puts a system in place. But as soon as the consumers in Kenya start demanding and asking certain questions, our systems will fall in place and our losses will reduce and our accountability will improve. That is when the issue of this unnecessary emotional movement and conversation will come to an end. Because we will always know, by the way, the contamination within our food systems was not because of plant protection products, but because of our handling. For example, in a few years ago, I mean, all of us were in Kenya when we had some food poisoning done in Nairobi. That was an opportunity we squandered as a country. To have said we needed to have a traceability system so that we know, was that food poison that people got, was it really a food poison because of handling? Was it because of this? And did anybody come to us and say it was a pesticide?
No.
So how comes, when it comes to that food poison, is not an
everybody
issue?
goes to that.
So I just want to say where we are, for us, it's important that we are all accountable for the food that we eat and ensure that there's a traceability system.
Yes, I want to bring Prof in for just 1 minute because we have to end. A lot of Kenyans have normalized the informalness, the juakali nature of our ways of doing things, which then wreaks havoc on such systems because there are literally no standards that people have come to learn for that. Now, informal jurisdictions, in places where you've been, this thing works because there is a certain way it's done. How would we customize it for our own use to make it simple and something that everyone else can look to?
Peter, there are two things. This conversation should go beyond the studio.
Yes.
We need to have the devolved system. And I'll be very frank with you that we lost it when sensitization, which was done by technically trained agricultural extension people, would be able to communicate with the farmers, would be able to advise them. Today, the farmers know nobody to advise. The agricultural sector is no longer a priority in most of the devolved, in the devolved setup, the counties. We need to go back there. Number two, Kenyans also need to respect and recognize the need to follow a process and a procedure. And that's what we are saying. There's so much. Remember, in this advent of this period of climate change challenges, we have to understand we are going to have more challenges, not because we cannot do it, but because we are using shortcuts to doing things. So we need to respect what has been worked on and appreciate the need for us to follow a process so that for the benefit not only of the farmer, but also the consumer at large.
Wakamba, there's a standard in Kenya.
Yes. The standards
there's a standard now that has been done. It's called KS 1758, Kenya Standard 1758.
Yes.
What we also require is we need the government, the regulator, to pronounce themselves and ensure that we enforce it. Yeah,
so we do have the standards and consumers need to be more hands-on. And of course that we need to go back to the extension services and make that a priority.
And food safety is not about pesticide. No. Food safety is about so many other movement issues. So that we can be able to get
thank you very much for your time, Professor Vasey and of course OJ. It indeed has been a very insightful show. We hope to have you back. But unfortunately, we are out of time in that interesting conversation. Of course, the news continues here on KTN. Do continue to stay with us. But from us here in studio, it is Kwaheri ya Kuonana. The show continues tomorrow, same time. Do make a date. My name is Peter Wakaba. Kwaheri ya Kuonana.
Thank you, Peter.
Time has run so fast.